Landing a job in VR. I'm Tonya Hall, and joining me is Joanna Popper, Global Head of Virtual Reality for Location-Based Entertainment at HP. Welcome, Joanna.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Give us a brief summary of your background as it relates to spatial computing and media, and tell us about your role at HP.
Sure. I've been at HP about 2.5 years. And prior to being at HP, I was at NBC Universal leading marketing for one of the brands there for about 8 or 9 years. And then I was at in Silicon Valley at Singularity University leading media and marketing in between. And I've been at HP. I joined, as I said, 2.5 years ago to head up our initiatives around virtual reality and location-based entertainment. So I've been working with all of our partners across the studios, the VFX houses, the content creators, the location-based entertainment operators to make sure that they're working with some of the best technology out there for virtual reality, which of course is HP technology. And then over the last 9 months or so, I've also been focused more broadly on our global initiatives around go-to-market.
You just wrote an article on LinkedIn about finding work in the VR industry. What are the in-demand jobs right now, and what kind of skill, experience, and education do you need to qualify?
I did just write an article on LinkedIn about that, actually. And the reason I wrote that was that I had seen a lot of people posting about how hard it is to get a job in the virtual reality or immersive computing field. And of course, right now, it's probably a hard time to get lots of jobs in the world. We're in a very unusual and unprecedented time in the world, where unfortunately, many people are out of work. And so I was seeing all these threads about how hard it is to get a job in VR, and I wanted to see what I could do to help. So I did a bunch of one-on-one Zoom sessions with people over the holiday weekend, and did a group Zoom session where about 60 people came to, and then we didn't record it, so I ended up just writing a recap of what we had talked about on the Zoom, and Steve Lucas and Mariana Acuna also joined me on the Zoom, who are two other great professionals in the spatial computing industry. And so some of the jobs that are very much in demand today are software engineer, Unity and Unreal developers. Those are some of the senior software. Those are some of the jobs that are the most in demand today. And the skill set that is needed for all of those jobs are coding, C#, Unity, Unreal. And so that's where you see a lot of energy, a lot of focus, a lot of jobs that are available. You see some product manager jobs. And then you also see other jobs, somewhat creative technologists, and then some jobs that are less technical in finance, in legal, in marketing, in business development, in sales.
How important is having the latest VR hardware in actually finding a job?
Well, I would say it depends on what your job is, right? So, I think that virtual reality is a relatively newer industry. The technology has been around for quite a while in research institutions, in the military, but it's not something that people have had wide access to for very long, and so. For people who want to work in the field, it's really important to understand the field really well. And so, experiencing what the content is like, experiencing the different applications, experiencing what's happening on the enterprise side, on the healthcare side, in the gaming side, in the entertainment side, in remote collaboration. There's lots of different aspects to the field. And so I would say that it's important to have the tech to understand what's happening in the industry, and then how you can take your skill set to best contribute and find a role in the industry.
What are some tips for finding out who's actually doing the hiring?
Well, there's a lot of ways to find out who's doing the hiring. So one thing that I say, I would recommend, and this wouldn't be only for virtual reality, but really for any startup ecosystem, is who's getting funding. When a company gets funding, they often hire a lot of people. So if you follow in TechCrunch or Crunchbase or Wall Street Journal or some of the VR specific publications like Road to VR, who's getting funding, you can then usually go on and find that they're hiring. All the big tech companies like HP, like many of the other tech companies, generally are hiring for virtual reality as well. And then there's also the big telecom companies, the chip companies are all hiring. And so actually in LinkedIn thread, I put about 50 different companies links to roles that they're hiring for in virtual reality today.
How do you go about networking? I mean, we're all working from home, so we can't really attend events or big industry conferences like we used to. So how do you go about networking remotely in this industry?
Well, in a way, the fact that we're all working from home and nearly all of our interaction is on a Zoom call or, or in a virtual reality headset connecting in a social VR platform or in a remote collaboration platform. In a way, the ability to network in some ways is actually somewhat democratized. So you don't have to necessarily fly to a city, buy a ticket, pay for a hotel to be able to access a networking event. You're able to there's a lot of free virtual events right now. And so those are much more accessible to people, just to pop on a Zoom or pop on a link online and actually attend. That you can chat with people. A lot of the events actually have networking sessions. And so in a way, while it's a different way of networking than what many of us are used to, in a way it actually makes the events more accessible. And to add to that, a lot of the jobs, since many of us are not working in offices right now, the ability to work from a remote location has become more prevalent. And, we see that our data says that about 25% to 30% of people are planning to be working from home through 2021, at least part of the time. And so that gives the ability for people to work remotely and perhaps get a job, even if they don't live in the same city as the company that they're working for.
How else has COVID-19 changed the job hunting landscape in spatial computing?
Well, so I think the primary things that we're talking about is it's making the need and the interest in any sort of remote collaboration tool and virtual reality tool much more important. We saw these trends before, but the acceleration has gone quite fast during COVID-19. And so we're hearing from universities where nearly 90% of the student body is not on campus or in schools right now. We're hearing from enterprises who want to keep up with the training of their employees, as they're working from home. And so we're seeing more and more interest in virtual reality during this time period. And we're seeing the gaming numbers grow exponentially as well. Steam VR, our partner for our new headset, the HP Reverb Generation 2, along with Microsoft. Valve has reported that Steam VR is seeing all-time concurrent highs, and so more and more people are playing games. So in each aspect of virtual reality, whether it's using virtual reality for learning, for creating, for collaborating, or connecting around entertainment or gaming, we're seeing the increased numbers. And what that means is that there's going to be more jobs that follow that.
Joanna Popper, Global Head of Virtual Reality for Location-Based Entertainment at HP. If somebody wants to connect with you, Joanna, what's the best way they can do that?
Well, the best way to follow me is to find me on Twitter or Instagram. It's just at Joanna Popper. And then you can find me on LinkedIn under Joanna Popper.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining. And find more of my interviews right here or at tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.